My audience is usually between 15 years old and 30. And there's some older people as well. This is the great thing about doing live shows. As a comedian, I get to go around. I did 80 shows in 6 different countries last year. And every single show, the audience was almost 50-50 male-female. And that shocks a lot of people when I tell that, because I'm seen as this horrible piece of shit who hates women and all that type of rubbish. And it's just, you know, obviously that's not true, but you see it at the shows, this reality. You see people of every religion, every creed, every single, you know, where they stand on the social ladder, rich, poor, whatever. In Australia, bogans, the people with one tooth drinking beer all day, the bogans, you know, up to the fancy lawyer. Everyone comes to these shows and you're able to trade ideas and laugh and talk mad shit about whoever, because it all comes from the same place. We all sit there and go, this person's who we're talking about is an idiot. We need to poke fun at them. And that's the thing I love about comedy, is punching up. I also punch down. I'm a pig on stage, guard. I'm a horrible person. I punch down. I coward punch. I'll throw punches wherever. It doesn't matter.
So you haven't had political correctness shackles within comedy in Australia the way we've had it in North America?
I know in Canada they had issues with people being actually fined for jokes, but not so much in Australia. Australia, like Canada, doesn't have a First Amendment, doesn't have free speech laws. But I haven't had too many issues. I mean, I've had a few scandals, and if anyone Googles my name, you can find those scandals as far as jokes that I've told. There's been a few universities. In Canberra, the university, I got news back that 2 universities in New Zealand for next year's tour said, no, we don't want Butterfield and his ideas here. That's not what we're about. He doesn't align with the values of our university, which is the biggest, just these ones that I've ever seen in my life.
This is the first such gesture I've had on a show ever. Excellent.
Thank you for joining us.
Don't worry. I used to be a soccer player, competitive, so I can handle all the rough stuff. Don't worry about it. Go.
Good. But this is the thing. This is what I've always tried to do, is be able to have and I was a bit nervous about talking to you today, because when I talk to intellectuals, I have to make sure that I'm, you know, really trying to be on your level, so to speak, because I've always sort of prided myself on being able to talk to the bloke who lays bricks and drinks beer for a living, and also talk to a university lecturer. But honestly, I haven't had too much political correctness try to quash me, so to speak. There was a big streaming platform that we all know that said to me just last week that my latest special was too controversial for them right now with the current situation in social justice politics and all that type of business. So they said, no, we're going to pass on your special because we just think it'll cause more drama than it'll bring in, you know, positivity or money or whatever. And that was quite upsetting for me. I mean, you know, something that you work on for 2 years and then you spend a shit ton of money trying to produce, and they go, well, we think this might upset some people, so we're not going to do it. And it's just like, all right, whatever. But I've been lucky with that. And I mean, a lot of my stand-up's about personal stories too. So it's not all just anti-social justice warrior, anti-feminism stuff. It's, you know, I've been doing stand-up for 7 years now, and I started YouTube as a means to an end to gather that audience. And I looked at it from a marketing perspective. I made my first videos about my hometown, and then grew from there, and then about my home state and grew from there, and then about Australia, and then about, you know, the world, so to speak. And that's how basically that was my business plan, was to grow and grow and grow. And it sort of has run that course to this point. But honestly, I've been very, very lucky with the political correctness. But I'm sure something will happen. I'm sure someone's going to cancel me for something. It's only a matter of time.
You know, there's a term. Are you familiar with the term anti-fragility? Do you know what that means? Anti-fragility. No. So anti-fragility, I mean, the concept has existed well before. There's a friend of mine, his name is Nassim Taleb, who's a fellow Lebanese, although he doesn't like to be called Lebanese. He likes to call himself a Phoenician, the ancient society of Phoenicia. And so anyway, Nassim wrote a book a few years ago called talking about anti-fragility, which refers to the following. You want systems to be anti-fragile, meaning that they could withstand withstand stressors, right? Imagine something that's very brittle, right? If you impart a stressor on it, if it's brittle, it breaks. But if it's anti-fragile, it could withstand that stressor, right? Now take that concept of, I mean, in a sense, think of it as the old adage, squeaky doors don't break, right? A door that squeaks a bit, but that could withstand, that has been been weathered and battered, is still standing. So I take this concept of anti-fragility and I argue that much of who we are as humans is really defined by our anti-fragility. So for example, I talk about friendships. If you and I are friends, but I'm afraid to ever talk to you about important subjects because I worry that if I share with you my position, you will unfriend me, which, by the way, many people exactly say this, that I'm afraid to bring up these controversial topics because no one, my friends will no longer think of me as a good person. My prescription is friendships have to be anti-fragile, right? If all we do is talk about the nice weather or, what kind of wine we like, then we aren't really true friends. True friends are those who can truly talk about difficult topics, hence their relationship could be stressed, and yet they could come out stronger on the other end, right? So the problem with all this political correctness is that it is contrary to anti-fragility. It basically creates humans who are so fragile that a misplaced joke by Isaac will bring the death of me because I need to go back into my safe space and so on. So all of the social justice warrior stuff is a negation of anti-fragility. But healthy human beings, strong human beings, are those who are psychically anti-fragile, right? Listen, I speak Arabic. My mother tongue is Arabic, right? So I've sat down and talked to people who are fellow Arabic speakers where they don't know that I'm Jewish. Therefore, their vile Jew hatred comes out when they're speaking to me, not knowing that I'm actually also Jewish. Guess what? Yes, I am annoyed that they say such horrible things, but I didn't wilt away and wither away with the wind. Their hatred made me stronger, right? Even my Lebanese experience, the horrors that I experienced as a child, which no child should see, has made me a stronger person today because I'm anti-fragile. So from difficulty, it is truly the case that good things arise, right? That which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. All of the cliches that you can think of. So by creating these sterile worlds where nobody is offended, everything is sterilized, everything is antiseptic, we're creating castrated individuals. That's why the West is dying from within. Look, I get emails from women who tell me, Dr. Saad, I can't get a guy to come up to me to ask me out. I mean,
yeah,
we're a sexually reproducing species. We reproduce sexually. That act requires courtship. It requires one person to approach another and say, hey, you seem lovely. I'd love to go out with you for a coffee. But so many men have become so castrated that if they approach a woman, it's a form of verbal rape. Mm-hmm. No, it's not. Rape is devastatingly horrible. It's a terrible thing. Don't label someone approaching you verbal rape. You are insulting how horrific a rape is by labeling everything rape. Just like when we talked about earlier, if you're offended by everything and if you're scared by everything, you are insulting those who went through my experience in Lebanon, because we really faced oppression as Lebanese Jews. So we need to go back to creating an environment where people are anti-fragile, are strong. They could listen to a joke. I listen to endless jokes about Jewish neuroticism. And I don't wither away hurt because I'm Jewish, boo-hoo-hoo, Isaac made a joke about Jews. I probably will laugh at it and joke with you, and I don't care. When I was a soccer player, I used to be called camel jockey, which was a derogatory term for, Arab, because I'm from Lebanon. So camel jockey. And I'm called sand N-word, okay? Okay, they're ugly words and so on, but I live to love again. It's okay. Yeah. Some people are assholes, some people are racist. It's part of the repertoire of the human experience. You don't legislate these things. You take them on the chin and you move on stronger and better than before. That's it.